A 66 Charger, and you restored this vehicle. And you said the owner contacted you through Facebook. Have you done other Chargers, and that's what caused him to contact you, or he just? Yeah. And do you know if it was a very expensive option, or was it? Welcome to another edition of The Story Behind the Car. I'm with Todd, and I forgot to ask, is this a 66 or a 67?
This is a 66 Dodge Charger.
Okay, 66 Charger, and you restored this vehicle.
I re-restored the vehicle.
Re-restored it, right. Okay.
It was a problem. It had been restored. Nothing worked on the car.
Okay.
Nothing was correct on it.
Oh,
and
okay.
the owner was not very pleased.
Yes.
He ended up finding me on Facebook through my business and just word of mouth.
Yes.
Contacting me out of the cold, and we hit it off. And he is from the Chicago area. I'm in Minneapolis.
Yes.
He trailered the car up to me. I've had it for about 9 months. Took the car completely apart, fixed all the problem areas, redid the dash, the clock, all the wiring,
wow.
Retuned the car, reassembled the car,
Holy
and
cow.
Made the car correct, and here it is now.
Yeah, and I want to shoot, we'll talk about the dash here in a minute. I do want to walk around. Can you show us the vehicle?
Sure. So one of the unique features, of course, is the solid tail light lens. This is unique to the first gen Charger, 66 and 7s.
And does the R lift up? Is that where the key?
No, it's actually, the trunk lock is below it.
Oh, okay.
It's a 3-piece lens.
That's okay. And I said the same stupid thing the last time I showed.
So you have a left, a right, and a center.
Okay.
Ironically enough, the center R is the hardest piece to find.
Okay.
Sometimes you can find lefts or rights at swap meets or eBay or whatever.
Yeah.
You cannot find the R.
Have you checked with any pirates?
We looked.
It's a bad dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very bad.
But this is a Charger. One of the other unique features is these vents open up while you're driving the car down the road.
Okay.
And it's for airflow.
Yes.
Through the car.
Yes.
And it helps the climate with the climate control. Plus exhaust and things like that.
And you can smoke cigarettes in there.
You can smoke, but it's basically a fresh air exhaust.
Okay.
That's unique to the first gen Charger. So the trunk closes, you're driving the car, it goes up to the ceiling, down, and out here.
Wow.
Kind of neat.
And you said the owner contacted you through Facebook. Have you done other Chargers, and that's what caused him to contact you, or he just?
Yes, I've done other dashes, and he's seen my work, and he ended up contacting me. I don't have the right word for him, but he's very particular.
Yes, meticulous.
Meticulous?
Yes.
We had quite the interview process.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Before
he'd been down the road, and
he had already been burned once.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to make sure that who he was going to have work on the car was going to be able to do it, what he wanted done to the levels he wanted it done at.
Wonderful. So, yes. And the back seat folds down. We could talk about that on the interior, but...
Correct. So this trunk divider folds down. So we can pop this down.
Oh, okay, wow.
One of the unique advertisements of this car back in the day was you could take this car camping. This is true.
Okay.
You can fold the back seats down, fold the trunk divider down, and then you can get a sleeping bag in both. And there's actually a TV commercial from 1968 advertising the 66 and 7 Charger. It was a Dodge promotional deal, and they showed 2 sleeping bags, pillows, and you could take the car camping.
Yeah. And if you wanted to look at the stars, you would have your head down here. Otherwise,
these things were great for drive-in movies.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the trunk is closed, everything is down. You got your pillows against the back seat.
Yeah.
This huge back glass, and a lot of children were probably conceived, in this type of situation.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah.
And so we'll move forward. I love the trim. So much trim, too.
This car has miles of trim.
Yes.
Yeah, this is aluminum anodized trim.
Okay.
There's stainless trim, and there's chrome on this car.
Wow.
So the bumpers are chrome steel.
Okay.
This is aluminum anodized, and then you have stainless steel trim down here.
Oh, wow. The kick panel, huh? Mm-hmm. Or the rocker panel, I should say.
Correct.
Yeah.
This car is actually equipped correctly. It was optioned with a factory stripe
Okay.
which this is an option on these cars.
Okay.
And you could get this, and this is correct for this car. It was not added after.
Yeah.
It was redone after the car was restored, but the stripe was put back on.
Okay. Now, did you do the paint work? Or
No. The paint and body had been done.
Yeah.
Mechanically and electrically, nothing was correct on
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
So
that's where the problems were.
And that's part of the problem when I get these cars. The paint work's already been done. So when I disassemble them, I have to be really careful.
I bet. Yeah.
Because it's not going to get painted again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has not been repainted after it left my shop.
Okay.
But I realigned every single body panel on this car.
Man.
And if you look at the nuts and the bolts, the paint is still on the nuts and bolts, even though I have to loosen everything up and make adjustments.
Yeah.
Door hinges, if I can open it wide enough, you could see that even the paint, when I realign the doors, you can't tell down in here that the hinges have been moved.
Yes. So you do very meticulous work.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Because, if a car's being assembled before it's being painted, you can just bolt it together.
Yeah.
The paint is going to go over top of
No
everything.
worries.
But when it's already been painted, you can't put it back on if you scrape it off easily,
And back bucket seats, the center armrest folded up to accommodate. You can slide
Correct.
2x4 lumber in there.
Correct. The seats fold down. So the back seats fold down, windows roll down. Now this car is a power window equipped car.
Yes,
so
I saw that. That's
they're
pretty.
power windows. I won't operate them, but they fully function.
Yes.
But here's the seats laid down, trunk divider, sleeping bag. Seats up, pillows in the back, trunk divider down, watching the big drive-in movie, lumber.
Yeah.
It was a cargo car.
Yeah.
Armrest folds down.
That's what I really find fascinating.
Another neat feature is this car has basically two glove boxes. It's got an armrest box and a glove box. And this car has, now the battery's disconnected.
Yes.
But it has a light
Okay.
in the glove box here as well. So there's a little map light in here. So when you lift this up, this all illuminates.
Okay.
And that's a neat feature on these cars.
Yeah. And I want to shoot the instrument cluster, but we'll talk about the cluster that you have on the table in a minute.
Mm-hmm. So I can.
Oh yeah. Yep, there it is. That is so beautiful.
So the dashboard is electroluminescent lighting.
Okay.
It works off 230 volts alternating current, or AC, not 12 volts DC.
Yes.
And so there's no light bulbs in the dash that make these glow.
Amazing. And how many years did they have that type of dash?
For 66 and 67.
Yes.
Now, it was in the 61 and 2 Chryslers as well.
Okay.
But for the Dodge Charger, just those 2 years, the first gen 6 and 7s.
Okay. And do you know if it was a very expensive option, or was it an option, or was
No,
it standard?
this was factory equipped.
Okay.
Every car had what you would now call a rally dash.
Okay.
So this was a standard dash.
Okay.
You got a tachometer, you got a full gauge package. Fuel
Yep.
gauge, oil pressure gauge, coolant temperature gauge, and speedometer.
Yes.
And so a lot of the cars, that would be considered a rally dash.
Yes.
And this was factory option, or the only option. This is the way it was. There was no choice.
Yes. Very nice. I wonder how expensive it was for them to create it, to make it. Was it pretty expensive?
There's quite a story with electroluminescence. It was invented in 1944 by Dr. Henry F. Ivey, an MIT professor,
Okay.
which I actually have the literature in the trunk of the car, in the pamphlet, that explains about electroluminescence. And it was developed along with NASA back in that day. And then Chrysler got involved. And between Chrysler, Dr. Henry F. Ivey, and NASA, those three main brains working together figured out a way to get it from the classroom and a controlled environment into a production type situation.
Yeah.
And they experimented with the 61-2 Chrysler lineup, and they were fairly successful at it. But then time went on, and back in the late 60s, 65 and 66, Chrysler was, with Ford and GM and all that jazz going on.
Yeah.
They wanted to build a car that nobody could compete with.
Yes.
It was a luxury muscle car. So you had a muscle car, but you could get air conditioning in it, power steering, power brakes, the fold down seats, the unique options. And they said, let's put electroluminescent lighting to it. So that's another unique feature of why this car ended up with that feature.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And did it come with a 383?
This car is a factory 383 car. It's
Okay.
a correct car.
Okay.
The engine is, Chrysler didn't start numbers matching until 1968.
Okay.
But this car is known and documented to be correct with the correct engine that the
Okay.
car was born with.
Yeah.
Now, officially, there's no way to validate that through the Historical Society or Chrysler, because again, they didn't start that until 68,
Yes.
where you start to say my car is numbers matching.
Yeah.
But it's known to be correct.
Excuse me, can I get a picture of your car?
Can you give me just a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you edit that out?
I'll leave it in.
But this is a correct 383 car. VIN number's correct. The fender tag is on the car. And this is correct. You can decode this tag, and this will show that it's a factory 383 four-barrel equipped
Yes.
car. This is a non-AC car, but it has power brakes and power windows with a
Wow.
factory stripe. This was an ordered car.
Yeah.
This was not a dealer showroom car.
Right.
Somebody ordered this car new. And
gonna
these
just-
are the options they wanted.
Small air cleaner for that. It just seems
This is a small air cleaner. If you had an air-conditioned car,
okay.
it was a dual snorkel, big round air cleaner.
Yes.
But this is the correct air cleaner for 1966
Okay.
on this car with a 383 four-barrel. Now, if you had the CAP package, or clean air package they
Yeah.
called it, you had a different breather, and there was a hose that would run from, then this was turned sideways, and there was a hose that would run from this nipple to the breather.
Okay.
If the car was equipped with what they call the CAP package,
Yes.
along with the PCV valve. And so this car is not, but that was an emissions thing that they did,
Yeah.
early emissions.
And hideaway headlights.
Hideaway headlights, so these will rotate around. There's no buckets that flip over.
Okay.
The actual headlight door rotates.
Okay.
So,
I have a video of I shot one of these earlier this summer, and so he opened them up,
okay.
and I shot that. So I'll reference that vehicle as well.
Yeah, they're really, really unique how they work, and the electric motors that are behind them are very complex, actually, how they work. It's quite an electrical system.
Yeah. Those guys were smart back then. No
They-
computers.
Yeah, no internet, no computers, everything is done mechanically.
Yeah.
With electric motors, and this car doesn't have anything that's vacuum actuated like the later Chargers or 68, 69, where they got
Okay.
the doors. That's vacuum. This is all electrically operated.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys, they didn't use computers to design it. It was all by eye and had
Right,
designed the eye of the designer. It's just amazing.
right. How they figured that stuff out, I don't.
Yeah.
I'll never know.
So I see the wiper motor. What is that to the left of the wiper motor?
So this is the voltage regulator.
Okay.
Now this is not a correct factory piece.
Okay.
This is an aftermarket piece.
Okay.
It's a little bit more reliable than the factory
Okay.
voltage regulator, but this is what regulates, the voltage from the alternator to the car.
Yes.
So this is the wiper motor, voltage regulator, ballast resistor.
Okay. I saw that and I thought maybe it had something to do with your instrument cluster. That's why I asked.
Nope.
It looked different.
Everything for the instrument cluster, believe it or not, is hidden in the dashboard.
Okay.
There's nothing out here that controls that.
Okay. And is there anything on the passenger side we should look at before we go to the instrument cluster?
No, it's this car has mirrors which is, again, he added a mirror on this side. You will not see this on many first gens.
Okay.
But this car has a mirror.
And it was optional, I guess?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So other than AC, this is a highly option.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, and it doesn't have the 426.
Yes.
You know, it's a 383 car, but
Yeah.
I think they originally ordered it to be a cruiser. You know, I mean,
Okay.
the way that it's equipped is kind of a long trip type car.
Yeah.
Comfort, but minus the AC.
Yeah. Should we go around and look at the instrument cluster now?
We can, yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. I want to leave that guy interrupting in because that happens so often, and it's like people don't.
Oh, does it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It always amazes me. It's like, can't you see what we're doing here? I'm sorry, I was referring to the one on the table.
Oh,
Because you can really give us an education here.
so this is an instrument cluster. This is actually for one of my own cars that I restored.
Okay.
And I brought it here just to show what, you know, people could see behind it and
Yeah.
what it is. I mean, I can light it up, but it's going to be tough to see.
Yeah, no, you don't. We already saw the one in the.
But this one lights up as well.
Oh, yeah.
This is the power pack
Okay.
that controls the electroluminescent lighting throughout the car.
Okay.
So whether it's the gauge cluster pack, a clock, the shift indicator, that's all EL. And this is what takes 12 volts DC from the car battery in,
Okay.
converts it on the bench with no load to 330 volts alternating current. When it's hooked up to a full load, it drops from 330 down to 230. So
Okay.
it's still very high voltage. 230 volts alternating current
Yeah.
is what it takes to excite the electroluminescent conductive layers that make it excite and glow. That's basically what happens is they get excited.
Amazing. I'm going to swing around just to show the backside. And to find one of these, I'm sure find one that is working is difficult. And
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
After 57 years, it's almost impossible to find one that, you know, you're going to find on eBay or a swap meet.
Yeah.
Where you're literally going to plug it in and it works.
Yeah. And are there parts available to rebuild them if need be? I guess you're a specialist in this.
Right. So I have parts.
Yes.
There's no reproduction parts.
Okay.
For the gauges.
Yes.
So any parts that I need to get from core clusters.
Okay.
So I have an inventory of good core used parts that I use to build all the clusters I build.
And I'll have your information below, but if somebody needs that, you're able to help them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Very nice, Todd. Anything about the instrument cluster or the car that we haven't? Other than I do have one last question, but
Sure.
the last question I have is, what is your favorite feature of the vehicle?
It's the electroluminescent lighting.
Okay, I figured that was the answer.
I think anybody you ask with the first gen is going to, you know, that is, at night, it is the coolest dash you've ever seen.
Yes.
It almost looks Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
Because the gauges are concave.
Yes.
And with these lines that light up, it almost looks three-dimensional, literally. So you look at it and it almost like it's sucking you in.
Yeah.
It is just wicked cool at night.
And it's 150 mile an hour speedometer.
It's a factory 150 mile an hour speedometer.
Yeah.
Which again, that's on other cars, that's considered a rally gauge or a rally pack.
Yeah.
Most of them are 120.
Yes.
But all Chargers had a 150 mile an hour speedometer.
And a beautiful clock at that. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up unless there's anything else we need to know.
No, I think we've covered the majority. I think we've covered it all.
Okay. Well, Todd, thank you so much for sharing the information and the story behind this car.
You're welcome.
And we'll put your contact information below.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it. Take care.
Whoops.